I'm audible? You live? Okay, hello everyone. A very good afternoon, and we'll be discussing memory-based paper of session 1, 29th Jan. This shift 1, okay. We are physics wala Tamil Nadu, and I hope all the students are doing really great. Now see, if I talk about the paper was kind of moderate. It was easy to moderate, I would say. If I talk about physics paper, the other information about the papers are yet to come, and we'll be discussing about all the problems that we have received. Now this is since memory based paper, so we have to understand that there could be some kind of hiccups here and there. You might find some deviations when NTA actually releases the main paper. No, we might have some kind of a deviation, but however, the questions that we are sure of, we'll be discussing it today. Okay, so we'll start our discussion with physics. You're going to see the discussion of all the topics. However, our main discussion of the question paper will start with physics, and then we'll also talk about the other two subjects. Okay. Now, as far as physics is concerned, we have seen the questions were very standard as it was expected. The questions were to the point, and it was more of formula based. So that was the treatment of the paper, and this is what is expected from NTA and all these standard exams. But we have to understand application based questions were also asked, and certain questions were direct, but you can say that it required little bit of time to understand, as in certain times you will see that in JEE Mains paper questions are very very direct and you just have to apply the formula. It was not that case for most of the questions. In certain questions you have to go for the application of one concept, and then it led to the next one, and then finally you came to the answer. Okay, we'll discuss all that. Let's start off with our first question here in physics. Look at the question. The problem says that a pendulum of mass m/2 is released from given situation. Find the speed of another pendulum after the collision if collision are elastic. Now, 2-3 things that we need to understand in this particular question. Number one, there is one pendulum over here, this pendulum right here. Okay. There is another pendulum, and this is having mass m/2. Okay. So if I draw the diagram, this is my pendulum having mass small m, and there is another pendulum which is over here, which is connected to a string like this. Okay, which is going to eventually hit this pendulum of mass m. This is m/2. So it is released from rest. It is released from rest. What does it mean? That initially u is equal to 0 for this one. Okay, this guy. And the moment it is released, what will happen? It will start coming down. Why? Now let's make this line over here where you had this pendulum of mass m and there is this pendulum of mass m by 2. When it is released, m by 2. When it is released from rest, it will fall down like this, it will come down like this, and then it is going to hit this mass. Why it is falling down? And why does it gain some velocity? Because obviously the potential energy is lost. See, it is at this height and now it is coming to this height. So what is this loss in potential energy is the first thing that we need to calculate, because this loss in the potential energy of m by 2 will be converted in its kinetic energy. Okay, so we are going to do this question in two phases. First, we'll see the motion of this mass, which is m by 2, from here up to here. And then we will have to apply the concept of collision, as you know. So first thing is that if this angle is 60, this is what is given, and we know that this length is going to be L. So as you know, this length will be equal to what? L cos 60. Correct? And cos 60 is 1 by 2, so this is going to be equal to L by 2. Isn't it? And this total length from here to here is also equal to L, right? So this total length is equal to L. So what is this length now? This length will be equal to L by 2. That means this mass m by 2 in vertical direction has moved by a distance of L by 2. The movement of this is how much? L by 2 downwards. So as it is moving down, it is losing potential energy, and this loss of potential energy is getting converted in form of kinetic energy, and that is certainly going to give it the velocity. So what is this? Now let's calculate the loss in potential energy. That is going to be equal to m by 2, which is mass, times g times L by 2. Yes, this is the loss in potential energy of this mass m by 2, must be equal to gain in kinetic energy, because when this mass would have reached over here just before collision, it would get some velocity. Let's call this velocity as u. Okay, let's call this velocity as u. So we'll write this equal to half m times u squared, half m times u squared, and over here m is not m but it is m by 2. Correct? Okay, so we can cancel off. You can see this is 4 and 4, we can cancel this off aram se. We can also cancel this m over here. So you get from here u is equal to root gl. We have got the value of u, which is equal to root gl. Great. Okay, first part of the question is sorted, which means that when this mass is coming right over here just before collision, it is moving with a velocity u. It is moving with a velocity of u, and this u is nothing but equal to root 2 gl. Okay, let me just take another page. Okay, let me add another page and let me explain to you. So till this point of time, what all things we have done? We had a question like this, and we had one mass m over here, we had another mass m by 2 over here, m by 2. This mass came and is striking, and we have found out that it has fallen by a vertical height of L by 2. Correct? And we also know that when this striking takes place, so I'm drawing this diagram now. Okay, I'm drawing this diagram now, this part, this diagram. I'm drawing this diagram now. So just look what is happening after this point. This is your m. Another mass of m by 2 is approaching this mass. This is just before the collision. Okay, so keep that in mind, m by 2, and now it is moving with velocity, which we are calling it as u, and we have already found out u. U is equal to root 2 gl. U is equal to root gl. Okay, all right. Now when it is going to collide, when the collision will happen like this, this is our m by 2, this is m. Okay, now we know that when the collision is going to happen, then certainly normal forces will come into play. So there will be a normal force, m by 2 will push this guy in this direction, and it will also experience a push in this direction. Now one thing is sure in this case, that along this direction, I can conserve the linear momentum, isn't it? I can conserve the linear momentum, correct? Because after the collision, let us say this mass m started moving with some velocity, let's say this velocity is v2, okay, in this direction, and let's say this mass m by 2 started moving with some velocity v1. So what we can write, what we can say about the momentum just before the collision, this was moving with velocity u. So I can write initial momentum of the system is m by 2 times u, correct, is equal to final momentum of the system, which is going to be equal to m times v2 plus m by 2 times v1, okay. And we know this u is equal to what? U is root gl is equal to m times v2 plus m by 2 times v1. So what we are going to get, see this m gets cancelled out, okay. We'll get 2v2 plus v1 is equal to root gl. Let's call this as equation number 1. Let's call this as equation number 1. So one equation, whenever we are dealing with such situations, we always have two equations to take care of. First equation is equation of conservation of momentum, okay, because this is a force, normal force is right, and you can conserve momentum along this direction. And second thing is that we'll use the coefficient of restitution formula, right, which is E is the relative velocity of separation by relative velocity of approach. So relative velocity of separation, as you can see from here, is v2 minus v1 divided by u. And it is given to us in the question. If you go back to the question, you see that it is saying that it is an elastic collision. So E is equal to 1, okay. But we can write all these equations pretty fast and we can solve it pretty fast. But the thing is that I need to explain each and every part of it. So I'm thinking that even when you're going to give the exam next time, then the concept must be clear. And for those who are going to appear, those who are aspirants, they must also know that what is the correct method of solving such questions. So two equations will require again and again. One is conservation of momentum. Another is the coefficient of restitution equation. So this is E is equal to 1. So if I write 1 is equal to v2 minus v1 upon root gl, what you're going to get is another equation, which is v2 minus v1 is equal to root gl. Now this is my equation number 2. Now look at these two equations, okay. So equation number 2, and I'm writing equation number 1 over here, 2v2 minus plus v1 is equal to root gl. This was equation number 1. If I just add them, if I just simply, what I do, I add them, then see what will happen. If I just add them, I'll get 3v2, and this will get cancelled off, is equal to 2 root gl, and v2 is what we were supposed to find. So v2 will be equal to 2 by 3 times of root g into l, and that would be the correct answer to this problem, okay. That would be the right answer to this question, okay. Let's check which option is matching with this answer. You understood what we did? First of all, a bob was over it. There was a ball of mass m by 2. It was at some height. We first found out that height, and then we told that, okay, by conservation of energy, what we can say? We can certainly say that this will start falling down, and then it is going to lose its potential energy. That potential energy will get converted into kinetic energy. So we found out the value of the velocity by which it is striking u, okay. And then once we have got u, then we applied the concept of collision. By two equations always will lead, right? One equation is conservation of momentum. So initial momentum of the system is equal to final momentum of the system. Initial momentum will be only be equal to m by 2 times u, because the other mass is at rest. And we were supposed to find the value v1, as simple. So v1 and v2, v1 can also be found out. It's pretty simple now. So if we go back to the question, you can see that option B is the right choice. That should be the correct answer to this simple problem. All right. So we are done with this. Okay. Let's go to the next question. The question is the velocity of a particle moving on a straight line varies with time as v is equal to a t square plus b t plus ct. This is t only, okay? Let me write it over here. So v is equal to a t square plus bt divided by c plus t, correct? Okay, this is what we get. Now they're asking us that if a, b and c are constants, find the dimensions of this a into b into c. We have to find the dimension of a into b into c. Good. Now if v is velocity, its dimension is going to be equal to L t to the power minus 1, correct? We know that velocity is L t to the power minus 1. This is a simple question based on the dimension analysis. Specifically, if I talk about, is based on principle of homogeneity. So principle of homogeneity states that you can only add or subtract similar terms. Only similar things can be added or subtracted, which means velocity can only be added to velocity, okay? Now if that be the case, each term must have the same dimension, each term. So this should also have the dimension of L t to the power minus 1, and this entire term should also have the dimension of L t to the power minus 1. Now when I say term, you should understand that a term gets separated. Term gets separated only by plus or minus. Multiplication or division does not divide things into terms, okay? So term means when they are getting separated by only these two operators, plus and minus. Got it? Okay. So that means the dimension, if I have to write for at, I can write at square. So t square dimension will be t to the power 2 is going to be equal to L by t. This whole dimension will be this. That means a will be having a dimension of L by t to the power 3, or I can write L t to the power minus 3. So we have got the dimension of a. A dimension is sorted. What about B and C? Now it's easy for us to solve for C. Very simple. Why? Because C plus T in the denominator, if you see C plus T, you can only add similar dimensions. That means C should also have a dimension of T. So C must have a dimension of T only. Then only you can add it with time, okay, in the denominator. Now what about BT? This overall thing must have a dimension of L by T. Must have a dimension of L by T. And if in the denominator we already have t and you have one t over here, the t and t will get cancelled out, isn't it? So if you see that term, bt by t, because c plus t has a dimension of t only, should be equal to L by t. So t and t, you can easily see that, you know, that just simply goes off, and we have dimension of b as Lt or Lt to the power minus 1. Now we have all the three dimensions, isn't it? We have all the three dimensions. So I'll just write it down. A has a dimension of, let me write it like this, L by T. B has a dimension of, A has a dimension of L by T to the power 3. B has a dimension of L by T. And C has a dimension of T. If I multiply them, what do I get? You see, L T to the power 3 times L T times T. What do you get? This goes, and we have L to the power 2, right? And we'll have T to the power 3, which is L to the power 2 T to the power minus 3. Which option? L to the power 2 T to the power minus 3. Option C comes out to be correct. So it's a very simple question. Again, we could have done it very simply, but then, yeah, I mean, if you are able to revisit this idea of principle of superposition, sorry, principle of homogeneity, why not? Correct? We can simply solve it by principle of homogeneity of the units and dimension topic, and that is what we applied. Each term must have same dimensions. Okay, great. So option C is the right choice. Let's go to the next question. The question is, the peak of mountain, at the peak of the mountain, the time of the pendulum increases. Great. And statement 2 is, time period of a pendulum increases with decrease in g. See, this is what I call as an easy question, because it is directly based on a formula. We know the formula for time period, t is equal to 2 pi root over, for a pendulum it is L by g, and generally when we write, we can also write it as g effective. Correct? If you're going up or down, whatever. So it is called as g effective. Now as you go up to a larger height, the value of g decreases and thus time period will increase. That is what statement 1 is saying. The mountain, the time of pendulum increases. So yes, because G is decreasing, time period is increasing. So statement 1 is correct. Time period of the pendulum increases with decrease in G. As we can see from this relation that it is obviously true. So statement 2 is also correct, which makes statement 1 is correct, statement 2 is incorrect, statement 1 is correct, statement 2 is correct. Option B as the right choice. Both the statements are correct. Both of them are absolutely correct. Okay. So this is again a pretty simple question, direct, very direct question. Okay. A much anticipated question, I should say. You always anticipate a question from this part of photoelectric effect. The question is the graph between wavelength of incident light and kinetic energy of photoelectrons in the photoelectric effect is. So we have to understand that if I have to write for kinetic energy, let me write as K. So K is equal to incident energy minus phi work function. I can also write this as K is equal to hc by lambda minus hc by lambda naught. If you notice, this is somewhat in terms of y is equal to some constant 1 by x. I have to draw a graph of K and lambda. Correct? K and lambda. Isn't it? See? We have to draw a graph of K and lambda. So it is obviously y is equal to 1 by x type of graph with a minus sign, of course. So this is how the graph should look like. K versus lambda graph, and that matches with which option? Option 1. So option 1 would be the right choice for this problem. Simply it is directly based on the equation of photoelectric effect, and this is a very standard graph actually, right? So it's a very standard graph of the relationship. Okay. Next question is from semiconductors. Good. Identify the logic gate represented by the circuit shown. Okay. So let's write down the name of the gate. So this is a NAND gate. This is a NOR gate. And this is again a NAND gate. Now let's make the passes. Let's pass our input. So when A goes inside, see when A is going inside, A goes from here and you get B from here. So when it passes through NAND gate, it will be A into B whole bar. Correct? It's a NAND gate, right? And when A and B goes from here through a NOR gate, it will be A plus B whole bar. Now these two are going into NAND gate again, so it will be a product and whole thing will be on the bar. So we will have A into B whole bar times A plus B, A plus B whole bar, whole thing. Okay. What this is going to give you as a result of Boolean expression, we can write this as A plus B times A into B. This is what we get. Okay. A plus B. Break the line, change the sign. So there will be a plus over here. Okay. Break the line. See, this will be complement of a complement will be A into B, and when we are breaking the line, then we can just change the sign of plus to multiplication and multiplication to plus. Good. So what we have got, if I take the passes like this, if I take the passes as A, B, okay, and then I'll have, let's write it as A plus B, and then let's have A times B, and then let's see the output, because that is what is going to be the output of this gate. Okay, and this output is obviously this plus this, that is this output is A plus B times A, plus A. Let's find this out. This will be our output, and the output will tell us that it is resembling which of the gates. So if I write this as 0 1 0 1, it says 0 0 1 1. Okay. 0 0 plus 0 will give you 0. This will give you 1. This will give you again 1. This will again give you 1. For A into B, this will give you 0. This will give you 0 0, and this will give you 1. And when you find this out, well, we have to add them up like a OR gate. So this will be 0, this will be 1 1 1. So as you can see, This is OR, isn't it? This is our OR gate. So if you look at the output that we have got in the OR gate and the output that we have got in the final thing, exactly representing that of the OR gate, which is option D. So OR gate should be the right answer to this problem. Okay. So I hope now all the questions that we had seen are more or less done. All the questions that we are supposed to discuss, I think, is over now. And so thank you so much, future IITians. I'll see you. And yes, just subscribe to this channel and make sure that if you want such intriguing and good quality videos, you can just come, and we'll be having very regular sessions on this channel where we'll be teaching things in great detail to all the students of Chennai and Tamil Nadu. You're going to have a great benefit out of this ecosystem, physics wala. And as you become a part of us, then you know that we as teachers, we take care of you and will make sure that you fulfill your dreams and your aspirations are met. So yeah, see you again probably in the next session. Next teacher, next sir will continue with the next subject. Okay, so I'll take your leave. Thank you so much.
Hello students, now we will discuss the chemistry paper. We are just checking the paper first. We will be uploading it and then we will discuss. Okay, so let's talk about the discussion. है ना? So basically, sorry for the delay. है ना? Now let's get started. So what basically we have is the first we are going to discuss the organic chemistry, and in that very easy to moderate level of questions came into the exam. So one by one we will understand them and we will try to discuss them. Okay, so let's get started with the first question that we have is the animal starch is, right? What we have to know, the animal starch, right? So in this you see lactose, glycogen, amylose and amylopectin. In this, glycogen is the animal starch which is stored in the body, and when the body needed the glucose, this glycogen converted into the glucose, right? So what is the animal starch? This glycogen is the animal starch. Now let's discuss the next question. Again, very easy question. You see, we have to calculate the number of sigma and pi bonds in the molecule. So the question is hexa 1,3-diene 5-ine. How many sigma and pi bonds? Very easy question. So first let us draw the structure, then we will discuss. So hexa, how many carbons? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 carbon, right? Chaliye, okay. So now here we have hexa 1,3-diene. So let's say it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1 diene. Okay, on the 1 alkene. On the 3 position we have the double bond. On the 5 position we have the triple bond. Now let's draw the other hydrogen as well. So the hydrogens are like this. Okay, now we can easily count how many sigma and pi bonds. So you see here sigma, 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 sigma bond, sigma bond, sigma bond, sigma bond, sigma, sigma, sigma and sigma. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 11 sigma bond. What about the pi bond? This one is the pi bond, and these two are also pi bonds, right? So how many pi bonds? 4 pi bonds are there. So again, very easy question. Now let's come to the next question. Okay, this question which came from the aldehydes and ketone chapter. So let's discuss. Some of the part is basically from the carboxylic acid also, and that we are going to discuss. So here we have the zinc with mercury and the HCl. So this question can be from the Clemmensen reduction, and we all know in the Clemmensen reduction that this is the reducing agent which is going to reduce the aldehyde and ketone. But here you see you are also having the HCl, and if HCl is aqueous, it will be doing the hydrolysis of ester. So hydrolysis of ester will also take place, as well as there will be the reduction. So this ketone group will be reduced. This ketone group will be reduced into the hydrocarbon. तो यहाँ पे reduction हो जाएगा. This will be converted into the hydrocarbon CH2. Here if we see, this aldehyde will be converting into again the hydrocarbon. And if we see the ester, hydrolysis of ester will convert that ester into the carboxylic acid. ठीक? So here we will be getting the carboxylic acid, right? So aldehyde and ketones will be reduced into the hydrocarbon, while the ester will be reduced into the carboxylic acid. So again, it is the medium level question. Now let's come to the next question, which we have is this. ठीक? So here we have the benzene ring, to which 2 bromine and nitro groups are attached. Now here you see we have the haloarenes connected with NO2 group, And as you know, the NO2 group is showing the minus M effect. And here you see, to the nitro group, you see the bromine is the para position. Bromine is present in the para position. Or you can say, uh, with respect to the bromine, the nitro group is on the para position. So the effect of nitro group will be on the para position. So the substitution reaction will be taking place here. Here the substitution reaction will be taking place. The reaction will be done via the SNAR mechanism. And here this minus will be replacing the Br, and we will be getting our beautiful product that will be this one, right? Okay. The answer will be what? Answer will be the B option. Answer will be B option. Chaliye, next, let's talk about the next question. So this question, match the column, है ना? So this is memory based question, medium level question. Whenever we discuss the biomolecule, we discuss all these things, what type of bonds are present in the carbohydrates, so we have to remember them. Okay, let's discuss this question. So if we talk about the cellulose, cellulose is basically having the beta 1,4 linkage, beta 1,4 glycosidic linkage. You see glycosidic linkage in which you see the glucose are connected in the line. So C1, C4, C1, C4, C1, C4, C1, C4. Like this, we have the structure, right? So C1, C4 linkage, that is with the beta. Now, if we talk about the amylose, in the amylose, we will be having the, alpha 1,4 linkage. In the amylopectin, the structure is similar to the amylose, but with that, we have the C1, C6 linkage as well. So that will be the Q. Sucrose is made of glucose and fructose, and they are connected with alpha 1 and beta 2. Alpha 1 and the beta 2. ठीक? चलिए, so answer will be the A option. Okay, next question. Which of the following is the steam volatile? Steam volatile. Right. So here we have the 4 compounds. In the 4 compounds, 1, 2, 3, 4. In these compounds, when you look at the molecule, you can clearly see there is the hydrogen bonding. So first compound is showing intermolecular hydrogen bonding. If we talk about the next compound, that is containing not inter, it is containing intramolecular hydrogen bonding. That's why in between the molecule, the strength, the bond strength is very less. In between the molecule, force of attraction is very less. So this compound will be steam volatile. This compound will be steam volatile. Answer is second. What about the third and fourth? It is having the, again, intermolecular hydrogen bonding. This compound again having the intermolecular hydrogen bonding. So answer is second option. Chaliye, next. So these were the questions. You can clearly see. One question came from the, 2 questions came from the biomolecules. They were easy to medium level. IPC nomenclature, we got the 1 question, very easy, sigma and pi calculation. Aldehydes and ketone, yes, medium level question. Hello alkanes and halorine, SNAR reaction, medium level question. And purification of organic compound, we have just the 1 easy question. Okay? Chaliye, now let's discuss inorganic part. Chali, okay. So let's get started with the discussion of our inorganic part. So what type of questions came that we are going to see? Again, in the inorganic part also, the questions were easy to medium level only. It is the track record that from the inorganic section, we are getting very easy question and the medium level question also. Hard questions are generally not asked from the inorganic part. So let's discuss these questions one by one. Okay, so the first question came from the periodic table, which is easy level question. So let's discuss statement number 1, correct order of ionic radius of the Mg plus 2, Na plus, O2 minus and F minus. When you look at these, here you have the 10 electrons, 10 electrons, 10 electrons, 10 electrons, right? So they are the isoelectronic series. Isoelectronic series. And in the isoelectronic series, we know the ionic radius, which is inversely proportional to number of protons. Number of protons increases, radius decreases. So क्या हो जाएगा order? देखिए, what will be the order? Number of proton increases, ionic radius decreases. So least number of proton in what? Oxygen. Oxygen is having 8 protons. Oxygen is having the 8 protons, so radius is highest for the O2 minus. Then you will be having the F minus, then Na plus, and then Mg plus 2. Right, this will be order. Do you see here the same order? No. No, we don't see. So the answer is not the statement 1. Statement 1 is incorrect. Now let's move to the second. Correct order of the magnitude of the electron gain enthalpy for the 17th group. In the 17th group, the electron gain enthalpy is highest for the chlorine, then fluorine, then bromine, then iodine. So this we discussed during the classes, and this order we should remember. So this statement is the correct one. So statement 1 is incorrect, statement 2 is correct one. Okay, fine. So the option D. So we have selected the option D. Chale, now let's discuss the next question. The question being asked, match the following with respect to the number of unpaired electrons. Chale, okay. So here we have Fe F6 3 minus. Okay. So Fe F6 3 minus. So here number of oxidation state is plus 3, and we have the weak field ligand. Weak field ligand we have. Okay, this one plus 3 and strong field ligand. Nickel Cl4. So oxidation state is plus 4 and ligand is Cl is the weak field ligand. Oxalate is strong. Fluorine is weak field ligand. Now here Fe plus 3 and we have the strong field ligand. ठीक चलिए okay. So in the weak field ligand we can write है ना. तो first we will be having the T2G, then we will be having the Eg orbitals. So Fe plus 3 will be having the 3D 5. ठीक है. तो 1 2 3 4 5. हाँ, no, in the weak field ligand है ना. In the weak field ligand we don't have to do the pairing. We should avoid the pairing in the weak field ligand. So how many unpaired electrons do you see? 1 2 3 4. Okay, chaliye. So just a second. 5 है ना. 5 electron we have to fill. So 5 unpaired electron. ठीक है. So first is going to be matched with the S. ठीक है. चलिए, let's talk about the second one. In that we have the cobalt plus 3. So cobalt plus 3. So cobalt is generally 3d7 for S2. So cobalt plus 3 will be having the 3d6, and we have the strong field ligand. So if we have the strong field ligand, then we have to do the pairing. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 0 unpaired electron. Here you see the 0 unpaired electron. So answer is P. Chaliye, next third. In the third we have the nickel plus 2. Nickel plus 2 is going to be the 3d8. 3d8 with weak field ligand. ठीक है. 3d8 with weak field ligand. ठीक है. So in this we can fill the electrons, है ना, weak field ligand, so no pairing will be there. ठीक है, no pairing will be there. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, 2 unpaired electron, right? So R, and the remaining one will be, the fourth one will be joined with Q. How? Let us see that. Let us see. So here we have the Fe plus 3. Okay, Fe plus 3, and in the Fe plus 3 we will be having the configuration 3d5. Okay, 3d5, and we have the strong field ligand. So if we have the strong field ligand, then we have to do the pairing. Okay, we have to do the pairing. So 1 2 3 4 5, right? So one unpaired electron is there, so that is going to be matched with Q. So answer is 1s 2, ठीक है, 1s है ना, okay, just a second, okay, है ना. So now see, 1 is going to be matched with how many unpaired electron? 5. So 1 is going to be matched with s. Okay, this is s. Okay, second one is 0. Okay, p, and third, in the third we have the 2 unpaired electron. Okay, so r, and this fourth one is having the 1 unpaired electron, so that is going to be matched with Q. So SPRQ, the option is going to be the D option, right? Chali, next. Okay. Next. Okay, so we have here, you see, there is some mistake in the previous question. Okay, anyway, so in this you can see from the periodic table we got one question, that was the easy level question, memory based question. If you see from the coordination compound, we have the 2 question in which they are having the medium level. Okay, thank you all of you.
Hello students, now we'll have discussion of maths portion. This paper maths portion was from mediocre to medium to tough. Okay, we'll discuss now. पहला नहीं हो रहा, कर रहा हूँ. Okay, students, we'll start with the math portion. Okay. So the first question was this one. Okay. It's a question from sequence and series and mostly from arithmetic progression. So generally we are seeing that in the mains this year examination, they're asking sequence and series at least one question, and which is a good thing. Okay, now let's study the question. This is saying sum of first three terms of an AP. Whenever you see such kind of things, the first thing that should, whenever you see this kind of thing, the first thing that should come in your mind is that the three terms I will assume as A plus D. So we'll start with A minus D, A and A plus D. So once you have assumed these three, sum of them is given as 54. When we add them, we'll get A, 3A as 54, which gives us A as 18. So once we have got our A, we can write the AP as 18 minus D, 18 and 18 plus D. Now we'll proceed with the second information given in the question. Okay? This is how you have to break down the information. This is the first information in the question. Now the second information is sum of the first 20 terms. Sum of the first 20 terms lies between this. So they are not giving exactly what is the value of D, but they are giving some kind of inequality. Now the inequality they have given is sum of these 20 terms is between 1800 to 1600. So our mind should work key. Obviously this will be solved and give you some value of D, and because of that then we'll be able to calculate A11. Okay, this is how we will proceed. So S20 very easy. Sum of n terms is given by n by 2. 2A plus n minus 1 into D. We'll apply that formula. 20 by 2 is 10. 2A. So this is the first term. 36 minus 2D. Now 20 term means n minus 1 is 19 plus into D. This is 1800. And this is 1600. So cancels this, this, this. Now we'll simplify this. So this becomes 17D less than 144 and greater than 124. Now in the question there is something given also, that the common difference is a integer. That the common difference is a integer. Now this will help us identify D. So when you solve, D will come as 8. The only possible value for which this is inequality. Because this is a strict inequality, this will be true. So now we have got our D. We got our AP. Okay. The first term 10, common difference 8. We can now easily calculate A11, which will be A plus 10D, which is very simple data. Answer is 90. Okay. Answer is 90. So in this question is very simple one. Okay. Where most of the information is given in a very straightforward manner, and even the data for the calculations are not very difficult, which we have seen in the maths paper in this year 2025, that generally the data part is the lengthier part students are saying. Okay, but this question we can attempt. Okay, this we can attempt and easily get 4 marks. Easily we can solve this question in 3 to 4 minutes without making any error. Okay, we'll see the next question. Now this one seems to be a question from area under curve. Area under curve, which is a very important chapter. Again, if you see the pattern for this year question papers. Okay, sequence and series, area under curve. These questions are coming into every paper. Okay, 3-dimensional geometry, vector 3D. These questions are very frequent. These chapters questions are very frequent in the paper. Now this question is little bit complicated from the language of the question, but if you start plotting it once, it will not seem very difficult. So let's plot it. Okay. So we'll first plot the first one. So we are plotting y equal to mod x minus 1. Okay, then more than that we can easily plot. So this is graph will be something like this. This point will be 1. Now second graph, I am plotting for y e plus mod x less than 3, or I can plot for 3. So more than this means this area. So this graph will be something like this. Okay, these are not parallel lines. This will be something like this. This will be 3. Okay, this will be minus 3. So this is the second curve. And the third curve. Now let's first find this point of intersection and this point of intersection between both of them. So we can solve like this. So that means mod x minus 1 is equal to 3 minus. So I'm equating the y values. Okay. So for the negative portion, okay. So if you solve this, you will get x equal to 1. X equal to minus 1. One of the value of this will be minus 1. One of the value will be minus 1. So this point will be minus 1. If you plot again, this become minus 1 comma 2. Okay, we can solve for this also. Okay, we can solve for this. So this I am solving. Now this, if you look at, it's a x square plus 3 by 2 equal to y I am plotting. So if you plot this curve, and if you try to check minus 1, so minus 1, y becomes 2. That means this is also a point of intersection of the parabola. That means the graph of the parabola will be something like this. So this is the area they want us to solve and calculate. Now this portion, if you understood, that means this and this will be symmetrical in nature, because this graph is symmetrical. This cutting points are symmetrical about x-axis. So what we can solve for is, so this will become 1 comma 2. That means we can solve from 0 say 1. Pink graph is above. That means total area will be twice of 0 to 1. This graph is 3 minus x, and this is x square by 2 plus 3 by 2 whole thing dx. Now it's just a matter of calculation from here. So 2, 0 to 1. So this is 3 by 2, this is minus x, this is minus x square by 2 dx. So 2 can be multiplied inside. This is 1, 3 minus 2x minus x square dx. So this very simply we can calculate. It will not be very difficult. This will be 3. This will be 2 into, so x square by 2. This 2 will cancel. So x square, that will be 1. Okay, that will be 1. So this will be x square, x cube by 3. That will be 1 by 3. 1 by 3. So that will be 5 by 3. But the question is saying 6a. So that means it will be 10 as a correct answer. 10 as a correct answer. Okay. This question seems little difficult by the language of it. Okay. Still it's a moderate level question, because the calculation involved are not very difficult. The integration part involved is not very difficult, but the diagram part is little bit complicated. We have 3 different types of, okay, 2 are moduluses, 1 are parabolic. But if you solve it with caution, you will get to a correct answer. Okay. Now this question. So this question is a very, very obvious question which we get to know in complex number. This is again one chapter where at least one question is coming in each paper. It's a very important chapter. Okay. So area under curve or complex numbers, these are important chapter from where at least one question will come. Now if you see this kind of question, we have did many question in the classes. Key, this is a equation of circle, this is a equation of circle. So it's a very straightforward question. It's a very normal data. So this center is 8 comma 2 and radius is 1. And this locus means less than equal to means every point inside the circle is also acceptable. Now another, this is also a circle whose center is 6 comma minus 8 and their radius is 2. So this also, everything inside the circle is also acceptable, not only the circumference of the circle. Now they are saying ki minimum value of this we have to calculate, z1 minus z2. This means this is distance between z1 and z2. z1 lies here, z2 lies here. So we know a concept. If I connect center to center, so this from here to here, this becomes the minimum distance between them. Geometrically, this is how we solve such kind of question. Okay. So distance from here to here is distance between this point and this one. Very easy. We can apply distance formula. So this will be 104. Now radius from here to here is 1. Radius from here to here is 2. So this minimum distance will be 104 minus 3 as a correct answer. So one line of question. It's very important question from geometry of complex numbers. And it's a very popular kind of question from where mains is every year on year asking questions. So this kind of questions are locuses, whose locus are circles, which are very important concept in when we teach in complex numbers. Okay, and it's a it's a concept from where it's a very easy concept to understand, and every year at least one question is coming from this. Next one is this one. So if you see this question is saying if R is a relation defined on 0 say pi by 2 such that x relation R, x relation y is such that this is equal to 1. So what we can do is we can take tan square y to that side. This becomes secant square x equal to 1 plus tan square y. Now this becomes secant square y. So this becomes secant square x. Now we have to judge whether this will denote, there are three types of relation. So we have to judge symmetric, reflexive and transitive. If it is all three, the answer is going to be equivalence. If it is one of them, we'll see according to that what option fits. So for reflexive, what we check? We check x comma x lies here or not. Yes, because we can say secant square x equal to secant square x. This is a true statement. That means this is a reflexive relation. So this became reflexive. For symmetric, what we check? So from reflexive, we can see reflexive and transitive. Neither reflexive, this option will be not there. Again, this option will also be not there. So either possibility is reflexive and equivalence. So if I'm able to prove symmetric and reflexive both, I don't need to check for transitive. I can directly say the answer as equivalence relation, because this is option is saying symmetric and transitive only, but this relation is reflexive in nature. Symmetrically, what we check? If x comma y is present, y comma x is present or not? Yes, it will be. This means secant square x equal to secant square y according to our relationship. This will mean in place of x replace y, in place of y replace x. This is also true. Correct. That means this is a reflexive as well as symmetric relation, which will obviously mean the answer is equivalence. We can simply check for transitive also. If x and y and z, if x and y and z lies, then x and z will obviously lie. This means secant square x equal to secant square y. This means secant square x equal to secant square z. That means obviously secant square x is equal to secant square z. So this is a very easy level question. Okay, this is a very easy question. Okay, very easy question, where we can also eliminate option by looking only by reflexive relation. We can eliminate one or two options. And this question language is also not very difficult. In fact, the question is very similar to questions which we have seen in our textbooks. Okay. Now, this is a very good question. The question is from permutation and combination. Okay. This is saying number of 7-digit numbers made with digits 1 to 3 such that sum of their digits is 11. So we'll form cases. How? So we'll start with, if I take 2, 3, maximum to maximum. So the remaining will be, so this becomes 6, remaining is 5. And I have 5 places to fill. That means all has to become 5. So let's take 1, 3, 1, 2. 1 another 2. So now this becomes 7. We have 4 places to fill. Now 2, 2, 2 and 2. This becomes 8. This becomes 6. This becomes 7. This becoming 8. Now 3 places to fill. Now these are the possible scenarios. Okay. These are the possible scenario, possible cases. Now we know permutation of similar items. Okay. When items are not distinct. So there are total permutation is 7, but 3, there are 2 of same type and 4 factorial. Now for this it will be 7 factorial by 2 factorial. So this will not be 4, this will be 5 factorial. This will be 4 factorial. This will be 7 factorial by 4 and 3. We can very easily calculate this. This will be 7 into 6. This will be 21. This will be 7 into 6 into 5. So this will be 7 into 6 into 5. 4 factorial will cancel each other. This will cancel 3. So this become 105. This will be again 7 into 6 into 5. 4 factorial will cancel this. This 6 will cancel this. This becomes 35. This becomes 7 into 6. 5 factorial will cancel. This will be 21. So when you add it up, this becomes 40. This answer becomes 161. Not a very difficult question, but to make these cases is where this question demands. Okay. And arranging them is not very difficult. This is a very simple example of arrangement, where if objects are of similar kind, we divide by that factorial. Okay, we'll see more questions in maths just in 1 minute. Okay, students, we'll start with few more questions of maths. So this question, this is saying the minimum value of n, obviously n will be integer, for which number of integer terms in the binomial expansion this is this. So let's expand this. A general term of this binomial will be NCR, 7 power n minus r by 3 and 11 power r by 12. Now this question simply means this powers should be integers, then only this whole thing will become integer. That means r should be of 12k nature, means a multiple of 12. So r can be 0, 1 into 12 and so on. And n minus r by 3 should be, we can, so this should also be an integer. This should also be belongs to an integer. Now r is already a multiple of 12. So this will be n by 3 minus some 12k by 3. So this has to be a multiple of, that means n has to be a multiple of some 3. Now we can see they are saying ki 183 integer numbers will get what is the minimum possible value of n. Now can I say 182 into 12, if I get n equal to this, now this is obviously divisible by 3 and we will get 183 numbers which will be integers, because r will be a multiple of 12 and this n will be a multiple of 3. Both conditions will be satisfied. So this only we have to do here is 182 into 12. If you solve this, this will come as 2184. That's why this question is a easy level question which we have seen in binomials a lot. Okay, this is not a very difficult question. It's very straightforward. The only thinking you need is this powers make things irrational. So such kind of question also has occurred in past where they are asking number of irrational terms and so on. Now this question is also a moderate level question, which is we have done a lot in classes, okay, in notebook. So let's calculate this, then we'll multiply with 80. Okay, or we can calculate it all together. So this will be 80, 0 to pi by 2 sin x cos x. This will be 9 plus 16 sin 2x dx. Now we know one thing, why I have written such a way, that sin x plus cos x square is 1 plus sin 2x. And same way, if I put a minus, there is a minus. Correct? We'll use this concept here. Now this into dx, we have to make in the numerator. So our assumption will be sin x minus cos x as t. So this thing will be dt. Now let's see sin 2x kya hoga. What will be sin 2x? So this will be sin x minus cos x, means t square equal to 1 minus sin 2x. We'll replace this here and we'll solve. 80. Now limits also will change. So sin x minus cos x, 0 pe, this become minus 1. At pi by 2, this become 1. This become dt. This becomes 9, 16, 1 minus t square. So this becomes 25 minus 16 t square. We take 16 outside. And we can check now, this is an even function. So this using integration rules, we can bring this 0, say 1, 2 times of 80 and 16 outside. This will be 0, say 1, 25 by 16 minus t square. Now this is a very straightforward integration, which we remember dx by a square minus x square is equal to 1 by 2a ln mod a plus x upon a minus x. So plus c integration constant, but this is a definite integration, we'll solve like that. So this cancels, become 5, the whole thing becomes 10. So this, when you solve, this becomes 10 upon 2a. A is 5 by 4 ln 5 by 4 plus t and 5 by 4 minus t from 0 say 1. Now when you solve this 0 say 1, this become ln 9 and this become 4 ln 9. Now we'll see which option fits. Now there is no option, this option is ln 9, but other options are ln 3. So we'll make this ln 3, this is 3 square, so this become 8 ln 3 as a correct answer. As a correct answer. So this question is moderate according to me, okay, but this kind of question we have done a lot in the class, okay. Now this one, this is a question from vector, which we are seeing that this year they are asking a question from area under curve, vector, 3D. These are the topics they are 100% asking a question from. Now this question is again a very good question where you have to understand something first and then solve it. It's not blindly solving the question. So it's similar to vector equation. Two simultaneous equations are given and there is a correction here. This was given as 168. As these papers are memory based, so there might be some inaccuracies with the numbers, okay, but you focus on the part of concept that we are using here. So first concept we are using from here, this I will write as minus c in cross a. This will go that side, this become a plus b cross equal to 0. Now this means when two vectors cross are 0, you can consider this as some another vector d vector. So c cross d is 0, that means c and d are parallel vectors. Now for parallel vectors we can consider c as lambda times a plus b. Now let's write what is this. So this is 2 plus this 5 comma minus 6 comma 4, but c is still unknown, so that means a second equation is given to solve that. A second equation is given to solve that. Now what is been asked? So we'll multiply a dot b plus a dot c plus b dot c plus mod of c whole square 168. So this solution is needed. Let's start. A dot b, when we do it, this is 3, 5, 8, 6, okay, this becomes 14. This becomes 14. And this becomes c dot a plus b. C dot a plus b. Now which can be written? C can be written as, yeah, a dot a plus b can be written as c by lambda, okay. So this becomes 14 lambda times of 77. This becomes lambda square 77 equal to 168. When you solve this, this becomes lambda square plus lambda minus 2 equals to 0. This gives lambda equals to minus 2 comma 1. Two values. Now this is been asked, which is equal to 77 into lambda square. Now when you put that values here, so 1 when you put this becomes 77. So one option is 77, which is this, and this can be correct. Another option is 4, 77 into 4. So this becomes 308. So these are the two possible scenarios which are correct. So this is a very good question from vector. These are questions which are coming every year. These are from vector equations, simultaneous equation solving, where we use dot and cross product to solve a question. Now next question, this is using a limit here, but this is mostly a sequence and series question for this part. Okay, the limit is just there to use at the last step. Okay, though not particularly a limit question. This is a question of sequence and series. And now this cubic is disguised in this way. So if you see this properly, if I write 6 and minus 1, now this has a root and can be factorized as k plus 1, k plus 2, k plus 3 minus 1. We'll separate this summation. This becomes k plus 3 factorial. This becomes k plus 3 factorial. Now this summation is k1 to n. So this is k1 to n 1 upon k factorial minus summation I am separating. Now what can be done? If you write few terms here, this will be 1 by 1 factorial, 1 by 2 factorial, 1 by 3 factorial, and so on. And this will start from 1 by 4 factorial, but with a negative. That means this whole part will cancel. Only this will remain. So this limit does not have much meaning in this given question. This question, even if given for sequence and series, the answer will be 1 plus 1 by 2 plus 1 by 6. Now when you solve this, this becomes 6, 3, 1 by 6, which becomes 5 by 3 as a correct answer. This 5 by 3 as a correct answer. Okay. So this part was the most critical part of this question, which in examination you have to think, okay, that you have to factorize this in such a way and then you can solve the question. This question, the language is still little bit unclear. This is the last question, okay. The language is still little bit unclear, but whatever is given here, according to that, the question is, okay, there is a line, there is another line. There is one line, there is another line. There is one line which is perpendicular to both of them. Okay, now see. Let's suppose this line to be L1, this line to be L2. They are saying let L3 passes through some alpha, beta and gamma perpendicular to L1 and L2. So this is your L3. And L3 intersect L1. So according to given language, this much we can say that this is the point of intersection also. This is the point of intersection also. Now because alpha, beta, gamma is intersection of L1 and L3, so alpha, beta, gamma will lie on this point for sure. Alpha, beta, gamma will lie. Now any point on this line, any point of this line will be of lambda plus 1, okay, minus lambda plus 2, 2 lambda plus 1. Now let's try to once see what we are getting this. So this question is actually, let's try to see this. So this is 5 lambda plus 1 minus 11 minus lambda plus 2 minus 8 2 lambda plus 1. Now they have disguised in this way that lambda, lambda and lambda get cancelled and the answer comes as 20. So this is 5, this will be minus 22 and this will be minus 8. So answer will come as plus 25. Answer will come as plus 25. Okay. This is how the question is. So this question, according to how much information is given to us, it seems very easy question, but there must be something extra given to us in the question. Okay, otherwise this language is little bit unclear from this. Okay, so overall the paper difficulty was from easy to moderate. From easy to moderate. For maths at least this is followed. For other two subjects also, as per sirs were saying, these are the difficulty level. There are some questions which are difficult in maths, but lengthy wise, if you see the other shift examination, this paper, at least these 10 questions were not lengthy at all. Okay, these are doable in the given time frame, although the time required in maths will be more than the other subjects, but still this was not lengthy, although few questions were on the good side. Okay. Thank you, students. We'll again meet for the next discussion.